Are you indoors or outdoors?
Outdoors.
Is it day or night?
Day.
Mhm. Are you alone or with others?
With others.
Now wrap your arms around your body. Can you tell me if you are a man or a woman?
A woman.
Mhm. Look at your feet now. Are you wearing anything on your feet?
No.
Look at your clothing. What are you wearing on your body?
Just a white t-shirt and some cargo type pants.
Mhm. And about how old are you in this scene?
Maybe 4.
Tell me what's coming up for you. What's happening around you?
There are a number of other kids my age, and we're all playing around. And there is 2 grown-ups there. Both are women.
Mhm. And did we take you back to childhood or is this another lifetime?
Seems like another lifetime because I don't recognize anybody.
Mhm. Get a sense of the scene now and tell me what you're doing here today.
Looks like I'm playing around in the mud, and there's a playground in the background, but instead we're just playing in the mud.
And then what happens?
Hmm.
Just take a moment and watch the scene and see what happens around you.
Looks like it's somebody's birthday. Somebody's coming out with a cake.
Mhm.
It looks like it's my birthday.
Mhm. What happens next?
One of the women who seems to be really young to be a mom picks me up and uh I blow out the candles. I try to, but the woman who picks me up looks like me now.
Mhm. Let's continue watching this scene and tell me what happens next.
I get a face full of cake, but I think it's funny.
Mhm. Then what happens?
Then what seems to be my mom, the woman who I said looks like me, picks me up and hugs me. And I don't seem interested in the cake. I just want to go back and play again.
Mhm. And can you tell me what year this feels like to you?
Maybe 2001, or no, maybe actually it seems a little bit more futuristic, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like 2034.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back to the scene now. And can you tell me, are any of these people connected to you now? Just take a moment.
The woman who looks like me seems like everything kind of paused,
Mm-hmm.
and she's kind of looking at me too, with like a little bit of a straight face, and kind of like seems to be walking around me almost, almost
Mm-hmm.
as if I'm almost as if I'm like a threat or something in some way. I can't really tell what her intentions are.
Mm-hmm. And let's move forward in this lifetime to an event that happens in this lifetime where we can find more answers on what's happening.
Mhm.
So let's move a little forward in time. And 3, start to get a sense of a future time in this lifetime and moving forward to when you're a little bit older. And 3, 2, 1, be there now. Tell me what's coming up.
I seem to be like straightening my hair or something in front of my mirror.
Mm-hmm. And about how old are you?
Probably like 14.
Mm-hmm. And then what happens?
Nothing bad necessarily. I'm just kind of seems to be like I'm hanging out, and it looks like I have like a phone, but it's not like a super like futuristic phone. It looks like one of those like play princess ones, but it is real.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like I'm like I'm texting my friend. And as I'm watching, it seems like the woman who looks just like me is watching with me and is watching me watch.
Mm-hmm. And let's continue to watch this scene and tell me what happens next.
Should I just ignore her watching me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's ignore her and let's get a sense, let's get grounded in the scene for just a moment. Take a deep breath and let's figure out your name in this lifetime.
Isabella.
Mm-hmm. Good. And now we're going to move one more time before we close out this lifetime. And I want you to move to an important event that happens in Isabella's lifetime. And this event is going to give us some answers on why her mother is treating her this way. So let's find out why your mother feels this way towards you. And I want you to get a sense of this next scene in 3, 2, 1. Be there now. And tell me what's coming up for you.
Looks like I am in a bathing suit at a lake, like a lake type beach. I have a stick in my hand and I'm just like poking the water. It looks like I'm around around the same age, maybe 15 or 60.
Mhm. What happens next?
In the water, I pick up with the stick in the water, some sort of creature, and it crawls on me and starts to bite.
Mhm. What type of
Kind of.
creature? Mhm.
It's like it looks like a slug, but it has like things like almost like a leech. Like it has things it can like suck with, but or like sting with, I guess, but it can also move pretty quickly. Seems to move around her body. And it looks like there's a male figure that takes it off. And then somebody that is with us there is an EMT. It's a young male. And he checks me.
Mhm. And then what happens?
Somebody calls 911 so they can come over and give me a shot or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
They're saying something about medication. My mother, who's the woman that looks like me, seems to be worried.
What happens next?
The EMT comes and I'm given some sort of shot and medication. And the wounds are cleaned up and everything seems fine.
Good.
Oh, I'm nauseous and I start to throw up.
Mhm. What happens next?
Throw up a little bit of blood. And we go over to the hospital. It seems like I can't really tell, like pregnant at like that age, that young of an age. And it seems
Mhm.
like I miscarried because of the toxins from the leech.
Mhm.
My mother in the lifetime seems to be perfectly understanding though.
Mhm. And then what happens?
Mm. I admit to my mother that I wasn't necessarily like I didn't necessarily want a baby and it happened through like in a non-consensual way.
Mhm.
And my mother seems to be upset and caring. She doesn't really know what to do, how to help. But this all happens still while we're in the hospital room.
Mm-hmm. So let's move to that scene where we can get answers on this pregnancy and why your mother knows about this. And deep breath in 3, 2, 1. Be there now.
Looks like I'm at like a football game. And looks like I'm like talking to this guy who I think is cute. And it's weird though, because this looks like the stadium of the high school I went to.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Let's keep
Looks
moving through the scene. Mm-hmm.
looks like they're going to like the locker room or the bathroom or something, supposedly to just talk. But it seems like something happened that Isabella did not want to.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't necessarily like very violent or forceful or anything. It seemed like she was just more so in shock than anything,
Mm-hmm.
because from what it seems like, she didn't even really know anything about this kind of stuff. She was a very innocent girl.
Mm-hmm.
She was never taught what any of it meant.
And now let's look at Isabella. Let's stop the scene for a moment and just take it in. And let's look at her. And who is Isabella to you? Let's get some insight on this life.
Okay. Let me go check.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the marching band. Let me go check if I'm in the section.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
Mm-hmm. So this still feels like a future lifetime.
Hmm.
And we may not have the answers. You can just communicate if it feels like it or if you're not sure.
There's some sort of relevancy, but I can't. Oh, um, it might be a warning of my future daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I I initially thought that I hate the name Isabella. That doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm. So we can see a lifetime from another person's point of view. So are we seeing this from your future daughter's point of view?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so your current self may be the mother in this timeline. And maybe the reason the mother is weary and watching is because she knows around that age what's going to happen because you're seeing it now. So let's go to a time In this lifetime, when the mother and daughter are feeling love from one another before we close out, I want to feel that connection and that love between you and your daughter, Isabella. And let's just go to a peaceful time when you're feeling love and connection from one another before we say goodbye and move on. And 3, 2, 1, be there now. And maybe you two can embrace each other. And you love her and she loves you. And know that you may meet again in the future. And take a moment. And you can ask any questions you may have of her in this time. You can speak to her, you can hug her. Within your mind, you can ask any questions you'd like. Once you're done, just simply say, I'm ready, and I'll move you, but take your time.
I'm ready.
Go ahead and let's say goodbye, and we'll see you again. And now I want to move you to a past life, and a past life that's going to give us an insight onto today, a past life that will answer any questions you may have about yourself and your current life. And let's move backwards in time to an older version of you. In 3, 2, 1, be there now. Tell me, are you indoors or outdoors?
Outdoors.
Is it day or night?
Day.
Are you alone or with others?
I am in a little bit of a herd because I'm a goat.
Mm-hmm. What happens next?
Hmm. Seems like I'm pretty just chilling, eating, doing goat things.
Mm-hmm. Good.
But seems like maybe, I don't know, I was gonna say maybe it's like a, like a bad farm or something, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
Mm-hmm. And what happens next?
Hmm. Looks like I'm just standing on some sort of object that's in the pasture.
And how do you feel? Do you feel happiness in this lifetime?
Yes, perfectly content.
Well, take a look at where you're living and get a sense of the location. Can you tell me what city, what state, or even what country you're in?
Definitely not America. I can't tell what country, but it's an incredibly rural area. I don't really see any houses around, just big pasture.
Good. Just take it all in for a moment and tell me, what was the purpose of this lifetime?
To feel the sensitivity and emotions towards nature and animals for my next lifetimes.
Good.
Since it seems like I know what it feels like to be taken advantage just because I don't have the means to defend myself. I'm happy in this lifetime in the sense that I have unlimited food, I have friends to be around, family, but something feels unnatural and wrong, like I shouldn't be fenced in a pasture.
Are there any more messages from this lifetime that we can receive before we move on?
Hmm. Hmm. Seems like at one point I'm killed for my meat in a pretty inhumane way, which would make sense because I've been vegetarian for like 9 years and I refuse to eat meat for that reason. That's, or no, wait, that's not me. It looks like that's one of my, somebody from my herd, and I'm like watching it. So it didn't happen to me. I watched it happen.
This perspective was carried on with you into future lifetimes.
Mhm.
So let's so let's move on now if there are no more messages from this lifetime. And I want to take you back to another past life as a human where we can receive even more messages today. Let's take a couple deep breaths. Let's go to another past life as a human where we can see you. And 3, and 2, and 1. Be there now. What's coming up for you? Are you indoors or outdoors?
Outdoors.
Is it day or night?
Evening.
Are you alone or with others?
With others.
And wrap your arms around yourself and tell me, are you a man or a woman?
A woman.
Look down at your feet. Tell me, are you wearing anything on your feet?
No.
And look at your clothing now. And tell me what you're wearing on your body.
I don't have anything.
Okay. And about how old are you in this scene?
Maybe late 20s.
And really get grounded and get a sense of where you are now. And can you tell me, is there a city, state, or country that resonates with you?
Somewhere in the Middle East.
And is there a name that they call you in this lifetime?
I'm not sure.
And let's go ahead and take a look at this scene and tell me what's happening in this lifetime.
So it seems like I'm on some sort of stage and I'm almost being like mocked. I'm not sure why, like how I got there in the first place or why I'm naked. It seems like it's like I need to almost, maybe for money or like maybe the country I'm in, women's roles are purely objective. I'm not sure, but seems like I'm surrounded by a lot of men who seem to be making like a mockery of me.
What happens next?
Well, I just seem fairly upset and uncomfortable. Nobody touches me, but it seems like some of them come up and like will say things in my ear or something. Again, just to make a mockery.
Let's continue moving through this scene and tell me what happens next.
They leave because they stay and I leave because the next woman comes up. And I go backstage to change my clothes and just leave generally upset.
And continue on, progress in the scene, and tell me what happens next.
I walk home and I don't seem to be treated well at home either.
And who's home with you?
My husband.
I want you to look into your husband's eyes. Do you know your husband in this current lifetime?
Yes, he's my father.
Let's continue through this scene and tell me what happens next.
He doesn't really seem to do anything. He just seems generally angry.
Mm-hmm.
But he ignores me and just sits down. On the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And I seem to be annoyed that he ignores me. Looks like we have a dog.
Mm-hmm.
The dog seems to be my current partner. Feels like I know the dog in a lifetime. In my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
The dog and I are very close. The dog doesn't seem to like my husband.
Then what happens?
I head over to bed and he brings friends over and they're loud and disrespectful in my sleep. The dog and I are laying in the bed together.
Mm-hmm. Then what happens?
I just seem to stay up, upset and angry that I'm treated the way I am. And I escape out the window with my dog.
Mm-hmm.
I run away.
Mm-hmm. And where do you go?
I find a small place, like a little shed, and I stay off grid. At one point, I see a group coming towards me, so I have to move out again. I have to leave all my stuff over and over and over because this happens continuously.
Mm-hmm. And can we go to a time when you're finally settled? When you find a place and you're settled in with your dog? I want you to move to a scene where you find this stability. And 3, 2, 1, and be there now.
I'm
Tell
on
me.
a
Mm-hmm.
I'm on a boat.
Mm-hmm. And whose boat is this?
Another woman who ran away.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Marka. And we seem to be maybe fishing a little bit. I see some fish in a bag.
Is it just you two and your dog living together on this boat?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. I want you to look into her eyes and tell me, do you know her in this current lifetime?
Yes,
Mm-hmm. And who is she to you?
she was my childhood friend.
Mm-hmm. And what happens next in this scene?
Seems like we're getting settled for the night, that nothing much happens during the day, but at some point I feel that the sea takes us over, like maybe something traumatic happens in the sea with a storm.
And let's go to that time when this traumatic event happens in the sea. And 3, start to get a sense of what's coming. And 2, let's move to this time and place. And 1, be there now. And tell me what's coming up for you.
Starts with the waves getting bigger, and there's a big storm, there's lots of thunder, lightning. It's really cloudy, you can barely see, it's very windy.
What area are you guys in? Can you figure out a place? What ocean or near what country? Any location that resonates.
Seems like traveling to Europe, maybe.
Mm-hmm. And tell me what happens next.
Seems like that's how I die, is by sea.
Mm-hmm. And let's go right up to this death scene in your time of death. And let's move out of your body and let's see it from above. I want you to watch yourself as you die. In 3, 2, 1, go to those last moments now. The last moments. And you can disassociate if necessary. And tell me what's coming up for you.
Hmm. Seems like I can't really tell if I pass by like drowning, or if I make it at some point, and I just think of that moment and I have lost my friend, I'm not sure, and my dog.
Mm-hmm. And let's keep moving forward then and see what happens next.
Not exactly sure, it's not very clear, but whatever it is would make sense because I have a morbid fear of the ocean.
Mm-hmm. And let's go right up to your death scene. Let's move right up to it. Whether it's at this moment in this storm or some other place. And let's tap into that place where you died. In 3, 2, 1, be there now. Tell me what's coming up for you.
Seems like I almost pass of like heartbreak
Mm-hmm.
from the loss of my friend and dog.
Mm-hmm. And did you survive the storm?
Yes,
Mhm. And where are you now?
in a hospital. Oh, you
Mhm.
know what? I think maybe it's from I passed from like the consequences of being in the water, the cold water for too long.
Mhm. Let's move to this time when you do pass. And I want you to feel your mind expanding into the highest levels of your being. And look down at your body now and know that it is normal to perceive some brief sadness in this moment. But your spirit has been through this experience before, and now you can return home. You can just float away, leaving all physical pain and discomfort behind. As you move away from your body in perfect comfort, soon you will receive divine help in releasing all negative energy from this physical life. And you move into a spiritual sanctuary of planning and harmony. And now I want to directly connect to this highest state of consciousness of your mind. This is like a vast computer holding all the stored knowledge of your entire existence. And as an eternal, timeless being, you have the ability to look forward and backward in this physical time into a past life personality or a future self. And you can receive answers about any part of your lifetimes that you've ever lived before and understand the events that shaped your immortal character. And from this higher perspective, I'd like to ask some questions today. So I would like to call in your highest state of consciousness. And when your higher self is present, simply say, I'm here.
I'm here.
Thank you for being here today. And I have a few questions that Georgia would like to ask. Are you able to answer these questions for me today?
Yes.
Good. And can you tell me where Georgia will be happiest and most fulfilled living?
Not in the United States.
Mhm.
That's all I will say.
Good. Is there a country that resonates with her that she would be best suited for, or just not in the United States?
Not necessarily.
Mm,
There's not necessarily any specific country.
Okay. I have another question. Is there anything Georgia is missing that could help her heal?
Just allowing things to be more, taking more risks.
Mhm. Good. Is there anything else that you can see that would help her heal?
I see something with the word star, but I'm not sure what that means.
hmm And let's sit with that for a minute. The word star,
Mhm.
how do you feel that relates to Georgia?
I think maybe it has to do with Has to do with a game that she likes, and she needs to do what it is that game is, which is a very rural setting,
Mhm,
farmer type, connection to nature. Those are the most important things to her.
mhm. Good. And now, before we go, I want to do a body scan. Can you shine a bright light from her feet all the way to her crown? And can you tell me if there are any blockages, any entity attachments, or energetic blocks in her body currently?
Yes.
Mhm. Where is that located?
Hmm. Right in the middle near her solar plexus.
Mhm. And let's go to that area now and tell me, is this an entity attachment?
Yes,
Mhm. I would like that attachment to come forward and speak to me directly. And when it's here, simply say, I'm here.
I'm here.
Thank you for being here today. Can you tell me when you attached yourself to Georgia?
When she was 13,
Mhm. What took place when she was 13 for you to attach to her?
certain abuse.
Mhm. And how do you help Georgia? What do you do for her?
I'm the part that she doesn't want to see, like the fear.
Mhm. And do you stop Georgia from doing anything in her daily life?
Yes,
Mhm. And what do you stop her from doing?
sometimes completely normal things
Can you give me an example?
based on like fear, for example, sometimes even just driving to get somewhere.
Mhm. And you offered your protection of Georgia for many years, but do you see how you're hindering her daily life now?
Yes,
And therefore, can you remove yourself from Georgia and enter this realm of love and comfort?
yes.
Thank you. Now, I want you to slowly just follow the light and let go of Georgia now. And when you've released yourself from Georgia, I would like higher self to step in and let me know it's done. And take a moment and follow that light and enter the spiritual realm of love, comfort, and eternal peace now.
It's
Thank you. And higher self, were there any other blockages that you found in her body today?
yes,
And where is that?
pretty much all over.
Mhm. And is this an energetic block or is this something that has attached itself?
This happened. This happened during her last memory that she had just had. She has kind of a blockage everywhere.
Mhm. Can I speak to this blockage directly?
Mhm.
Blockage, when you're here, simply say, I'm here.
I'm here.
And what do they call you? Do you have a name?
Obsession.
Mm-hmm. An obsession. Do you see how you're hindering Georgia from making progress in her life?
Yes.
Mhm. An obsession. Do you want to feel eternal peace and love and comfort instead of hindering Georgia?
Yes.
Mhm. And you see, we all have a little spark inside of us, and this spark we can make larger and larger, and we can make this spark turn into a bright light that encompasses our entire being. Can you do that for me today?
Okay.
And start to feel that love and comfort and that bright, warm light. And as you do, I want you to begin releasing yourself from Georgia and move on to this home of eternal peace. And release her today and let her move on. Let her progress in her own life. Continue letting go and feel that warm sunlight, that comfort, and that eternal peace. And move on to the light now. And higher self, when this releasement has taken place, simply say it's done.
It's done.
Thank you. And higher self, is there anyone else with you today?
Yes.
Okay, and who is with you?
Georgia's third eye and intuition.
Mm-hmm. And is there a blockage in this?
Yes, in a spiritual sense, meaning
Mm-hmm.
she may need to meditate more and whatnot, but the amount that she does it is fine for where she is in life.
Mm-hmm. And how can she expand her consciousness? Do we need to get rid of this blockage today?
No, she's only 23, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that uh, the time will come when she's meant to expand the consciousness more.
Mm-hmm. Good. And higher self, in this realm, do you have any guides or ancestors who would like to come through and speak to Georgia today?
Yes,
And who's there with you today?
her mother's mother.
Mm-hmm. And let's bring her forward. And what is your name?
And that's her.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for being here today. And what messages do you have for Georgia?
Forgiveness eventually will be very important.
Mhm. And who will she need to forgive?
Her mother more than anything,
Mhm.
but maybe I'm biased.
Mhm. Do you have any other insight you would like to share on this forgiveness?
No.
Mhm. And do you connect with Georgia?
Yes.
And how do you do this? What are the signs that she will know you're near?
When she's doing tarot readings and they come out accurately, it's her higher self, but sometimes it's me.
Mhm. And as Georgia progresses in life, will you continue helping her with these readings and this insight?
Yes, of course.
Mhm. And is there a way she can call upon you when she would like to have you come in?
Yes, but I'd like her to figure that out for herself.
Good. And until she figures this out, can she meditate and ask that you be with her just for comfort?
Yes.
Thank you.